Ghana is introducing some of the world's strictest COVID travel rules. Authorities are banning any adult who's not been vaccinated from flying into the country with effect from midnight. Now, the head of the Ghana Health Service, Patrick Kuma-Aboagye, says that in a statement that there is no option but to self-isolate. Ghana Health Service says that they are concerned about a surge of infections over the festive period. Ghanaian citizens and residents abroad are exempt for up to 2 weeks, but will be required to get jabbed upon landing at the airport. Ghana's land and sea borders have been closed to passenger traffic since the restrictions were first introduced at the start of the pandemic. Alongside the new measures, Ghanaian authorities will also still insist that all arrivals present a negative PCR test. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by advocate Evans Ogada, who's a researcher and associate editor at the Platform for Law, Justice and Society. Advocate, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Good to have you on the program.
Good evening.
These laws that have been introduced, I mean, these are among the toughest COVID-19 restrictions in the world. How has the Ghanaian authorities been able to justify this at all, if at all?
Well, the reasoning being offered by the Ghanaians is that they want to stem the wave that is being feared to be coming due to the holidays, the holiday period. And of course, there's the variant, that is it Omicron, that is recently emerged. Well, each country has its own rules for admission into its territory. It's up to them to choose what to do in terms of admitting people into their country. My own Kenya had similar rules in terms of admitting those who want to come into the country. The requirement that people have to be vaccinated. Constitutionally, that will raise a couple of issues with their citizens. I don't know how they're going to deal with this, but let's wait and see.
All right, we'll chat about the law just now, but I am curious, you know, as recent as last week, we heard the Secretary General of the United Nations say that these kinds of restrictions speak to travel apartheid. Are we not seeing African nations being as strict as countries like the United Kingdom who've been condemned?
Well, the question then has to be, has that worked for the United Kingdom? Has it worked for the countries in the West? I don't think it has worked, because things come in a couple of months back, such measures were put in place and nothing much has happened. We are seeing stories of governments now proposing, and some quarters proposing, that we have the fourth jab, which means the vaccination is not foolproof for protection against COVID-19. So it really is a dicey situation, and I don't know. This kind of strict moves, they have to be applied with some common sense to it, because if the vaccine was foolproof and it worked, then it will make sense. But the fact that we have the fourth jab being prescribed as a panacea for the future, I mean, it's like we're going around circles. It's going to be difficult.
Again, there doesn't seem to be much of following of the science. I mean, the science suggests by the time that a virus, a variant has been discovered, it's already been circulating, and that you cannot actually stop a virus, a variant from traveling. All that you can do is manage the situation that you find yourselves in. And I just wonder if Ghana perhaps isn't applying the science, but rather perhaps being more political than anything else.
Yes, and that is the similar questions that we are posing with our own government in Kenya. The science ought to really lead the reasoning around COVID-19 and the measures. But you see, the way Ghana and Kenya, my own Kenya, and similar countries in Africa, similarly placed countries in Africa, they're dealing with this issue as if it were a security issue, which befuddles, because science ought to inform what measures you take. So, for example, I will ask if the Ghanaians are giving their citizens, their returning citizens, only 2 weeks, some leeway. 2 weeks from now, you are not going to come into Ghana without being fully vaccinated. And in addition to that, they want a PCR test. I mean, it raises constitutional issues because citizens have the right to ingress and egress. They have the right to come in and go out. So how are you going to stop them when they present to you a PCR test and they have a right to come into their own country? These are the sort of questions that always amaze us with countries in Africa.
Then there is the legal aspect, I guess, that some might want to challenge, whether actually this is allowed by law. I think it's Japan that's ruled against these kinds of extreme measures based on law.
Yes, and the questions that have been raised all over, including those of us who are in Kenya, are asking the same questions. Are you going to stand the state into a security state and the science not supporting your moves? Because, for example, if the vaccine was foolproof and the vaccine was presented and indeed was effective in terms of stopping the spread, then that will make sense. But the vaccine is not conclusive in terms of stopping COVID-19. We have mutating variants that, as you correctly say, Peter, are mutating and spreading around. We need to think better rather than making it more difficult for people to move. It's either we have lockdowns and other measures, but don't make it a complete bar for people to come in and go out.
Could this have diplomatic consequences for Ghana when one considers we're busy trying to get the Continental Free Trade Area up and running, we're busy trying to recover from the bulk of the COVID-19 pandemic and try to kickstart our economies? This can't happen if people can't move around.
Definitely. Those kind of challenges are bound to arise. And we are keen to see how this ban will be implemented. So, for example, if the Ghanaian authorities apply this unevenly, that might present serious challenges. I don't know how they're going to do this. And Ghana needs money, needs revenue, needs income from all manner of sources, trade, airport landing fees. They might end up regretting this because people might just decide to shun Ghana as a destination. They need to think of how they're going to rationalize this. The science should really inform how they deal with the vaccination process.
All right, if we move away from the continent in terms of Africa as a whole, they do belong to a regional body, Ecowas, where the movement of people is guaranteed. They're talking about citizens being given a 2-week grace period. Will it hold if you say to ECOWAS citizens that you can't come in, only Ghanaians can enjoy this period of 2 weeks grace?
Well, I don't know how it will hold because Ghana, like many countries in Africa, have porous borders, poorly policed borders. You may do the prohibition on airports, on formal borders, but on the informal routes and using the routes that traditional herders and traditional migration routes within Africa. How are you going to enforce strict vaccination protocols? I mean, this should be a matter of persuasion and convincing. You need to persuade people that vaccination is the way to go, and you need to don't make it a security thing. I don't know how they're going to stop their brothers and sisters from Ecowas, and yet Ghana will want revenue and will want to trade with partner states. It's going to be tricky.
Tricky indeed. Tricky conversations, I'm sure, that will be had with the heads of state in the coming days. Advocate Ogada, thank you very much indeed. Always greatly appreciate your contributions.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.